makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I will be having a conversation with Karina Schulz. She is the author of My Unexpected Superpower. Karina's book is a powerful and personal journey with bipolar disorder and the challenges she faced growing up as a first-generation American with a multicultural background. The book provides tips that anyone can use in their daily lives. Join me as I dive into Karina's inspiring story. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how it has influenced your journey with bipolar disorder?
Sure. I was born in California. I had two foreign parents, so I was first generation American. There has been a lot of mental health in my family in general. However, I was never told about it until I was 18. So when I was younger, I had all of these like ups and downs emotionally, and I didn't know what they were, where they were coming from, or how to interpret them. And I think as a normal teenager, like things that people would tell me is like, oh, it's just emotions because of puberty or because of this, but mine were a lot more escalated. And so it was weird to kind of get my head around it once I understood that when I was 18 that I had bipolar. And then learning more about it and just doing more research on it made me more comfortable talking about it and talking about it with others. So I try my best with anyone that I'm with, whether I just meet them or not. Maybe not to just come out and say, hi, I'm bipolar, but just like when it comes up in conversation to not think of it as a taboo topic. Just say like, oh yeah, I was at therapy last week, or oh my gosh, this one time I talked to my therapist about this, or when I tried this and something happened when I did this. So really bringing it into conversations, I think has helped me a lot. It's opened up people around me where they all now feel more comfortable talking about it as well. First with me and then with other people. But basically all of that escalated into me wanting to write a book. So my book actually is now out and ready for purchase, called My Unexpected Superpower, How Being Bipolar Got Me Ahead of Everyone Else. And I did it as a way to say that any adversity can be used to your benefit as well, depending on how it is that you look at it. So doing a lot more research on bipolar, learning how it was reflected in me, because the way that people have it is very different. Like everyone has very different, if you want to call them symptoms or action. Yeah. It's how it works. It's very different for everyone. So the way that it manifests in me is different than it does for other people. So being able to share my story, hoping that'll open other people up more was my goal. I said why the subtitles, why how being bipolar got me ahead of everyone else in a way of just like taking control of it and just saying like, yeah, I have it. What else can I do? Like it's not going to go anywhere. And yeah, it's just sharing my story, seeing if other people can relate, and if not, have something that's connected to it, similar, like if it's a different mental disorder, if it's an adversity of some other sort. I mean, there's so many different adversities today. Not they're like the door is being slammed wide open on adversities worldwide. So just being aware of them and saying, okay, I have it. Now what am I going to do with it? Like I can't change it. So yeah, that's a little overview.
So now let's go a little bit back to when you were a child. So your parents never told you have it until you were 18. So how was your behavior during that time? Do you felt like it was different compared to now as an adult, or is it the same?
I definitely do feel it was different for two reasons. So one, and I actually did this realized this when researching information for my book, that the way that bipolar will manifest as when you're in childhood and when you're in adulthood is different, just because also there is that added part of puberty and just like learning. And I mean, your brain is still getting developed. Like what are emotions? How do you deal with them? And things like that. So in your childhood, the swings between manic and depressive episodes are typically a lot quicker. So you'll go up quicker and down quicker and up quicker and down quicker. And then there's most of the year. And what I try and tell everyone, like, especially right now, like 11 months out of the year, I'm just not in any stage. It's just like a normal, normal thing. And then that's one of the issues with bipolar and why it's a little bit harder to actually treat. Cause like all of a sudden you have like one up and then one down. It's like, yeah. But most of the year it's just stable. And so as a child, it was higher and more frequent up and downs. And then kind of the curve kind of evened out, now that I'm in more of adulthood. But I did notice that there were those huge up and down swings. I didn't know what to do with them. I always felt like I was different than other people because I would either feel things like very hard for a longer period of time than other people would. I was very confused as a child trying to interpret like why other people were doing certain things and like why sometimes I could work and only sleep like 3 hours a night. And then other nights I had to sleep 11 hours. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. Learning about it and making myself more conscious about what the effects were and how I could help to contrast them and actually work with them helped a lot. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of difference now because I'm aware of it. So when I do go into a depressive mood, I'm like, okay, I know it's only going to last X amount of time. Like just focus. It's okay. Like it's not me, it's my emotions. It's not me, or it's not me, it's hormones. It's not me, it's just chemicals. It's not me. It's just like I'm going through a moment and I try not to take it like, I don't know, take it as personally. I'll just like say like, this is the depressive me. This is the me that actually needs to get stuff done, and separate those. And then one of the biggest things that I talk about in my book and why I say it's actually using the adversity to your benefit is because I realized that during the manic episodes where I have a lot of energy, I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of concentration, I have a lot of creativity, I have all these things running all the time. I'm like, okay, like what can I do in those times that's going to help offset the fact that I'm going to be in a depressive mood at some point? I don't know when, but it'll happen. So yeah, and so it's like, okay, being aware of bipolar, just saying, okay, I'm in a manic episode right now and I have so much energy. I'm feeling great. I'm on top of the world. I'm a queen. Like all this energy and creativity. And the thing is actually like looking back, they are really good ideas. Like, I actually wrote about that as well. Like I wrote the book predominantly on a manic episode. Like there's good things that come out of it. It's just channeling it to the right space. So it's like, okay, when I get into that stage, instead of not knowing what to do and not understanding why I have energy, I'm like, okay, I'm conscious, I'm in a manic state. So I'm going to focus on, back in the day it was college applications, and then it went on to job applications, and then it went on to doing a master's applications, and then it went on to doing my book, and then it went on to traveling, and then it went to investing. So it's like there's all these things that come up, and so I'm like, okay, I can use it to my benefit because I think a lot. And then I would also, or what I do, is plan out a lot when I'm in those stages, and I'll make a very detailed list of everything that I need to do to achieve X goal. And I'll say, okay, this is what I need to do every day. Like, for example, if it was learning about investing, then it was like, okay, all I need to do is do like a research on one, stock or one mutual fund or one type of investment account per day for 2 weeks. And then after that, select one here. And then after this, and it's like little things I do every day. Or if it's like for sales, because I work in sales, for example, then it was like, okay, I'm going to put out a thing. Like what I'm going to do is send this many emails to these people with this profile. And then I'm going to do a LinkedIn. I'm going to do call, things like that. And I do it super, super, super detailed. And so then when I go into a depressive state, when I have zero creativity, zero energy to do anything, I'm like, okay, like don't try and be creative right now because it's not going to help. I already was creative in another moment. I already know what I need to do. So all I need to do is just follow what I wrote down before, and that's it. And stop, like, don't try and be creative because everything is going to come out bad. So that's what I'm saying, using it. Yeah, like using it to my benefit because I'm like, okay, I'm so creative in those moments, and I'm passionate and energetic. And so use that, and then like enough to offset the times when I'm bad. So then it ends up being like more stable just throughout the year. And like I mentioned earlier, like typically 11 months out of the year, I'm just like flatline normal. I mean, I guess not flatline. That would be like, I'm just like emotionally normal. Like I get like, and then like I get sad about normal things. Like if my friend and I get in a fight, like, yes, I'll get sad. That doesn't mean I'm depressed though. Or I'll get really happy if something good happens, like being able to chat with you guys, for example. And so like those are regular things, but that doesn't mean I'm in a manic stage. Like they're different. Being sad and depressed or being manic and being happy are different. And so, yeah, it's just like very average throughout most of the year. And then, taking a very conscious view when I'm either in a depressive or a manic state is what helps me.
So now it seems like you learn how to manage it pretty well. But let's say that you get to that moment of not in the creative mode, as you called it. You're kind of like in that blank mode of like, do you have a way of calming yourself down, of a way to switch it around to go back to that creative mode? Or do you feel like you need to stay in that mode for a while just to allow yourself to deal with it?
That's very interesting. I've never had someone ask me that directly, but it is something that I've thought about. So there's two different avenues kind of that I go down at the same time. I kind of split myself, where the main thing I do, like the very, very first thing I do is call my dad. and I just say like, oh my gosh, I feel like crap. And my dad is so supportive. He always knows what to say. And he'll never like put me down about anything. And he kind of then brings in the second step, which is what you just said, like, you need time to just process it. So he'll repeat the same things that I repeat to myself. Like, it's just the chemicals. It's just the hormones. It's just emotions. Like, it's not you. Breathe. And then he also told me multiple times, like, take a step back, breathe. You don't need to be everything right now. What you do need is just like to get back on the horse, get back on the train, whatever saying you want to use. That's the only thing you need to think about right now, but you can't think about the thing that's 100 steps out right now because you're not there. And so he's always the first person to really just like say, okay, let's take a step back, take a breather. But exactly what you said, like based on that, I actually move into the second part where you like mentioned, I just need to process it. So yeah, I can't choose to be in a manic state and I can't choose to just go out of depression. And so I feel a lot for the people that do have just irregular depression, so not bipolar depression. I go through that part as well. And it's not something where you can just choose to not be there anymore. You have to let the hormones, the chemicals, everything just roll its course. And so keeping myself in safe environments, not doing anything too risky at that moment, not going out on a limb and like quitting everything, which I have done in the past. It doesn't help anything. So, and so it's just like being very conscious and saying, okay, like I'm going through this. I know it's going to be over. So just stay tight, breathe every day. Like the only thing you need to do is take one step. Maybe it's half a step, but yeah, it needs to just run its course. It's not going to go away on its own.
Do you have something that triggered? Let's say, for example, me and you were talking. Perhaps I say something to you that just triggered that for you to go to that stage of emotion, or is it something that just happened on its own with nothing triggering it?
So that I would say is a difference between more of like an impulsive emotional reaction and bipolar, which both can have varying degrees of interconnectivity or not. But for me, I'm not as reactive to just like one-off comments. The reaction is in as like a strong emotion. Bipolar, you'll have extended periods of either depression or manic episodes. So that's what I mentioned. For like a depression, it'll go on for 3-4 weeks, maybe 2 months. Like for me, at least that was like the most. And so they're extended periods, and it's not because one person said one thing that upset me, and then it just pushed me into this whole period. It's just a very extended, long, grown out thing. And the same thing with the manic episodes, which don't last as long as depressive episodes just by nature of the chemicals. And so, yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be one thing someone said. I mean, I guess if someone said something hurtful, I would just be mad at them for a second. I wouldn't necessarily, like, it wouldn't push me into a depressive episode, because the episodes, like I say, they last weeks. So it's not, it wouldn't be like a one-off comment.
Right. So now let's talk a little bit about your book, My Unexpected Superpower, How Being Bipolar Got Me Ahead of Everyone Else. Oh, I'm trying to do that with an attitude, but it didn't work too well. It's when I get to read it, and I also read the chapters, some of them that I could read from your website, it's very interesting. But what really grabbed my attention, you say that how it gets you ahead of everyone else. So now, can you explain us more in detail how that really happened with bipolar?
Yeah. So the main reason I wanted to use that as my subtitles, just because I felt like it sounded so strong, because I'm taking this extra step. I don't know very many people. I think 4 off the top of my head that are in my close circle that have written books themselves, and I have a pretty big circle of friends. So, I mean, adding myself to that group, I'm like, okay, there's not very many people that do that thing. There's not very many people that have been able to go and travel abroad multiple times, that have lived abroad, that have taken all of these extra chances, who have maybe dipped into different activities that other people haven't gotten to yet, just because it's like, oh, like I had this idea, let's go like execute. And so I say got me ahead of other people just because, not in a way that's like depreciating other people or trying to put them down, just as a way to encourage other people that it's totally okay to have a mental disorder, have any sort of adversity, and just continue ahead and not care about what other people think. It really doesn't matter. If they don't agree with you, then you know what? That's okay.
It's okay.
That's totally okay. I mean, if they provide constructive criticism or constructive feedback, that's one thing. But if they're just putting you down, then you know what? Do they really need you? Do you really need them? Yeah. And so, the subtitle is more aimed at being more empowering. And I say that because it also allowed me to take a lot more strides in emotional development and emotional maturity than a lot of other people had, especially like when I figured out at 18, like I dove right into it. And so already at 2021, I was already thinking about things where I would speak to people that were much older than I was, and they would be like, oh, like that's a very interesting way to look at life, or like I like the way that you process it, or the way that you reacted to something was very nice, because I was able to process it a lot sooner than other people, which maybe like other people, if they start going through events later on in their life, they don't have any of the emotional tools in their toolbox to be able to process it. So I've already developed those. I've been through therapy. I've been through group therapy. I've been through a lot of different things like meditation retreats, and I went to this one thing, I forgot what it's called, where we're like a room full of women in like a very hot steam room, and it's completely black. But it's like a place where you go and you talk about your emotions and you work on them, and you cry, and then you're happy, and then you laugh, and then you're depressed. And it's like you go through all of these things, which help me build up all of my toolbox and know what's best for me in certain situations, as opposed to what maybe someone else would do, or a different way that I reacted that then had a negative consequence afterwards. And so because I had this adversity, I was able to work on these things a lot sooner in life than what other people were. So I'm trying to encourage people to go and work on themselves, learn about what they like, what they don't like, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. It's different for everyone else. My emotional processing works for me at the moment, and in 2 years it may not work, and I'm going to have to reevaluate, but I'm okay with that, and I'm more flexible with the idea than some other peers of mine that are in a similar life stage.
When I read the subtitle, for me it was kind of like, if you are having bipolar or any other mental health disorder, you can do it. You don't
Yeah.
have to allow people to tell you that you have to stay in the bottom because you have a mental health issue or because you're dealing with some personal stuff right now. Your brain, you smart. You are smart as everyone else on earth. Your brain is probably functioning a lot better than everyone else on earth. So for me, when I read that subtitle, it's a way of saying that you can do this, regardless of what all these little noises are saying around you. Just push them away, do you, and be the best at it. And that will get you ahead of everyone else because they'll be too busy talking about you while you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad you liked it. And yeah, that was very clear on exactly what I was trying to get at with my audience.
So now, can you let's go a bit back. You mentioned feeling exhausted as a child because of your family tradition, international influence, and how did this experience shape the way you see things on the world and your sense of identity?
Perfect. For the listeners, to give a little bit of a background, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a first-generation American. My dad is from Peru and my mom is from Austria. They were both immigrants when they were in their 20s and 30s, met in the States, and I popped up. So, so in the house growing up, we spoke German and Spanish, and then I learned English predominantly in school. But I had that background because in the house, we didn't celebrate U.S. holidays or traditions because neither of my parents knew any of those. Like, they both came when they were already well into adulthood. My mom came my early 20s. My dad came in his early 30s. So they were already well established in their traditions, and that's what they knew. Like, the books I read, the like cartoons I watched, they were all in German. Celebrations were like very from my dad's side because the Latin community is a lot more like vibrant in that area. And so I felt like when I would talk to people outside of that environment, I never would match up. Like, there were US holidays that I didn't even understand, because both of my parents didn't celebrate them. Like, they could tell me like, oh, it was to celebrate this, but to really have that emotional connection to the holiday, like, I didn't have it. And so I felt like I always was very disconnected from the rest of the US community. And that's a lot saying that I was born and raised in San Diego, which is a very diverse city. Yes. And I mean, amazing city. I love San Diego. But even being so diverse, like, I didn't fit in with either one, or like one group or the other. Like, there was no place where I was like, oh, like, this is really me. Cause like, if it was, I mean, obviously San Diego is a border city with Mexico. And so there was a lot of Latin American influence, which is closer to like my Peruvian side. And like, that was great. And I loved it. But then in a certain extent, it was like, okay, but I'm also European. Yeah. And so then there were things that like I would either say or do, or just mannerisms, the way I would act. It's like, okay, it doesn't fit in here. Like, I don't have, they're just weird. And then if it was with either Americans or with other Europeans, it was like, oh, but I'm too Latin. And so there was this weird mix, and I originally attributed my discomfort in societies or in groups to be due to that aspect instead of more to the bipolar aspect. And then once I started taking more conscious effort of learning about bipolar, because I knew about it, is when I was like, okay, it really didn't have much to do with the like cultural background. Like, there obviously is a lot to do with that, because there are differences in the way I act, but taking a more mature stand towards it helped a lot. So I originally attributed it, my differences, to just being very culturally different, which also is a huge benefit in my life. So it's just like another thing, whether you want to call it an adversity or just characteristic of myself. It's something that I got a huge benefit out of, because now taking the parts that I know are more part of this group or more part of this group, I can kind of wiggle my way and be more flexible with the way I act. And I take a conscious note towards it. And then learning that, like, just being bipolar is, oh, like, that was more emotionally different. So once I took control of that, everything else lined up. I was like, okay, like, I can deal with life. So yeah.
So now let's talk a little bit more about your superpowers. Can you fly?
I wish. Oh my goodness. My dream superpower would be to read minds. Everyone says that it would be too much. They're like, I don't even want to hear what other people have to say. I totally want to hear what other people have to say. Like, what are they thinking about me? And I guess this loops into me as a child because I was weird. Like I would talk to myself in public, all these things, because there's just things that run through my mind, which I figured then was also just connected to bipolar. So now I kind of chilled on that.
I think it's normal. I talk to myself every day.
I talk to myself at home now, but now at least when I talk to myself, it's like in my mind. It's not like actually words coming out of my mouth in public. So like when I, or even just like other things I was doing when I would be like staring off into space thinking about something, I noticed that other people, they would have like that face where they're like, what's going on with this girl? And so I wanted to know what they were thinking, like, so that I can adjust. I've always wanted to read people's minds, to be able to know like what was going on and see where we're aligned and where we're not, what they're thinking in each moment. So that would be my ideal superpower. Flying would be also, well, flying, I think I would just go over to...
You can go to space.
I was going to say teletransportation, where I can just like snap my fingers and be in a different place, because that would like take away the flying time. So, and maybe not as much jet lag, or maybe it would be worse if you do it too quickly. So, but yeah, at least you would like take out the flying time. So, so yeah, it'd be teleporting.
Teleporting. So now, can you tell us a little bit more when it's come to the book? What can people expect to learn when they buy that book? What lesson are you trying to pass across of them? Or either they have bipolar or any other mental disorder?
The main thing is that with any adversity, you can still find a benefit. There's still something that you're going to get out of it. With my story, it's a memoir, so I'm sharing events very personal to me, specific episodes in my life that have marked certain like passage points from one mentality to another, things that have shifted. And I want to allow that to open people's minds to a new conversation, whether it's with themselves or with other people. I want them to understand that they're not alone, that there are other people out there that are suffering the same or something, the same thing or something similar. And so being able just to internalize it, learning about someone else in general. I mean, even my reading preference is women written memoirs. So I guess that also inspired me to write my own memoir. Even if they don't have the same adversity as me, I still learned something about how they were able to process their adversity, or how they were able to go through it, what mental challenges they had, why they chose to do something. So I tried my best to go very in detail on things that happened to me, the reaction that I had, the actions I took, and why I took those actions, because there are some very deep, harder situations that I do share in my book. And at the end, I decided to not take any action for the specific one. It was a legal action. I decided not to, which I did get a lot of pushback from my personal friends in my life because of it. And so in my book, I say, like, it's not always about taking that action in that way if you can see that down the line that's not going to be the best benefit for you. So going into the details why I decided to do something, someone else can decide to do something different, and that's fine. But that wasn't my decision. And so being open to taking different paths, understanding that, I mean, your adversity is going to be there. You can't take it away. So just accepting it and being more mindful of why you're doing what you're doing.
But also that they can learn from the things that you went through as well. Because don't get me wrong, the way you manage it doesn't mean it's going to work for them, because you can't really promise them that. But at least that they can try it, or also that they can come up with their own thing to be able to make it work for them. That might work for them, and they can go out there and share it. So I think your book is a message by saying that bipolar, it's not a bad thing.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I'm just different, and that's it. Like, I process things differently, and that's fine.
Yeah, but I think that too. I think a lot of us are like that. We just never get diagnosis for it or anything like that. We live with it our entire life without knowing we have it. I mean, like I meet people when I see them, I'm like, in my head, are you bipolar? Because you should definitely be in that category. But it's a good thing because I meet a lot of kids with bipolar. They like smart. And I have one of them that was 3 years old that can write mathematics, the entire words, that can do 1,000 multiplied by 3,000. She'll tell you what it is with out of her head. It was like, how did you know that? She's super smart.
I've actually gotten that comment multiple times in my life. The one where people are like, oh, like if I share that I am bipolar, they're like, oh, but you don't even seem bipolar, which I guess is just another stereotype about bipolar people. Like, it's not something you can see on the outside. Same thing with depression. I think depression has a lot more like visibility right now in like social media and things than bipolar does, where they're like, you can't see depression. Like, they may be smiling on the outside just because they know that it's a nice thing to do. So the same thing with bipolar. It's like, you can't see it. And then also, I mean, I'm pretty normal and average 11 months of the year. And so, like, okay, like maybe if I met you 6 months ago, like maybe nothing happened. So you're not going to tell me that I'm not bipolar, or you can't tell me, but yeah. So I've gotten that comment multiple times actually, and I'll go through and like explain the same thing. Like, I know maybe you didn't see it right now, but I'm telling you, giving you like a warning that heads up if something does happen down the line, and I tell you that like I'm feeling really bad right now, then you know it's why, and it's not for you to take it personally as well.
So now, where can someone get your book?
Okay. I will love to share the link as well so that you can share it with your viewers. Right now it's on doranspublishing.com. I'll share that so that you guys have the right spelling. And then within the next week, it should be available both on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble. And then maybe 2 weeks after that, on what's it called? Apple Books as well. So, it will be available where you need it, where you come in, and it's available in both hard copy and digital versions at the moment. Yeah.
So now, if let's say that someone wanted to get it today, next week, or where can they find it now?
Right now, it's already up on doranspublishing.com, and so I'll share that link with you guys, and then Amazon later in like a week. Yeah.
And I know that with your book, you get a lot of great feedbacks from it. Did you have any difficulty writing it, especially as being, you don't know when that 1 month is going to show up in your life? So did you have any issues staying focused into that?
I did have issues is it an issue? I've been wanting to write a book now for around 6 years. So I started gathering just a bunch of like journal entries that I had written over the course of 6 years and compiled them into the book. And so that helped with probably the first half of the book. And then after that, writing the second half, that was the more difficult portion, because it was really like, okay, like what else am I going to write about? Like, I need feedback from other people to know like what they want to hear out of the book, to the extent of like what would help them better understand the situation. And so then I got good feedback about going back and adding more details about my childhood, and then going back and adding more details about what I'm looking for in the future and things like that. So I did have a decent amount of collaboration with other people, both from other publishers, from my family, from my friends, on what they felt would also be something captivating for them, which helped me. I took some of the information, I didn't take other parts of it, because some things, I couldn't even try and like develop into words. So I was just like, if I write it, I know it's not going to be interesting on like that topic. So I would take like some of it and not take others. And so, yeah, that part was more difficult on trying to figure out what would be best to make sure that the story, the memoir is actually comprehensible and it leads to the goal that I'm trying to lead it to.
So now, what advice would you have for someone that is bipolar or have any type of mental health?
First would be educate yourself on the thing that you have, whatever it may be, whatever either disorder or adversity. It doesn't even have to be a mental disorder. It can be some other sort of adversity. And so that would be first, understand where society is right now in terms of it. And then read lots and lots of books. I read so many books constantly, and that's both things that are directly related to me and other ones that are not, because I know that I can still get information from them that'll be helpful in some way, shape, or form. So educate yourself on that, read a lot of books, and then go out. The last thing would be just to go and try different
things,
tools. So try, maybe my emotional tool isn't going to work for you, but you won't know until you try. Maybe it will. And put yourself out there for more experience so that you can actually get practice with your emotional tools.
And in your tools, you share them in your books, in your book, right?
I do. I share tips and tricks, I guess you would say, for things that have helped me out. Also on my website, which I can share as well, they has like the main points there of things that you can use.
And so if I wanted to get your book, then you have 30 seconds to sell it to me. What would you say to me so I can go buy it?
Oof. Great question. Do you want to learn how to use your adversities and turn them into your superpower?
I love it. And I think that your book is not just someone that's have mental health, bipolar, or anything like that. I think anyone can use it, because me, myself, let's be honest with one another, as human, we all have these moments of life. It's happened. It just happened where you have a hard day, or sometimes we wake up just in a bad mood in general, and be able to learn how to handle that type of emotions and to use them as superpower, like you said. For me, I felt like it's valuable. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that anyone in general can benefit from your book. You don't really need to have any type of mental health issues or anything like that at all. It's just
exactly.
As human, we have emotions and we carry them everywhere we go. So it's kind of like you learn how to control certain things in your life and be okay with them. But let's say if you could use these tools also to control anything within your life, like how you're feeling right now. How do you control that feeling? I'm sad, I'm crying. Perhaps like you said earlier, give yourself permission to go through that period of life. And it's okay to be in that moment. So your book can benefit just anyone, because we all have this moment.
Thank you. Yes, for sure.
Would you mind sharing one of your, let's say, I know you have a different type of tips and things that you give, and like you said earlier, that you mentioned in your books. So what will be the number one tips that you can give to the listeners?
Starting off, I don't medicate, and I did that on purpose. I didn't find benefit for it myself. I did try, and it didn't work the way that I had hoped it would work. I know that it benefits other people. One of my best friends, for example, from college, they do, and it works for them. It's not something that worked for me, but the best thing that has worked for me is really keeping a strict workout schedule and eating right. And so I don't do it anymore because of any sort of physical aspect where people, they expect a certain physical outcome from going to the gym and eating healthy. For me, it's 100% mental stability, which helps a lot with just making sure all of the chemicals, the hormones stay where they should be instead of going out of whack. So that is one of the biggest tips I have for anyone. I mean, even if it's going on a walk. Walking is so good. So many people talk about like we don't walk enough anymore. I love walking. I ride my bike. I don't own a car. So I walk and ride my bike everywhere on purpose and eat very well. And I really noticed, I took a conscious effort to track how I was feeling after eating something bad. And you notice how bad you feel afterwards. You don't even, you're not even encouraged to eat the bad food because you're like, I know I'm going to feel horrible in 2 hours. So why would I do it? So that would be one of the tips that I mentioned in my book, among others as well.
And where can they go to get your book?
They can go to dorancepublishing.com. It's also available on Amazon, on Barnes & Nobles, and a few other ones which are listed on my website. My website is schulzkarina.com. That's SCHULZ, no T, and Karina with a K.com.
Oh, thank you so much, Karina. I enjoy talking to you. I don't know, you say you're bipolar, but talking to you, I feel like you're more like an active person. I would say.
I definitely keep very active.
Very active, and you see life in a different way than a lot of people, like you said earlier. And I think that's one of your superpowers, is to be able to see things in a different angle, in different ways. And I think we need more of that. And also, just for you to say, I'm going to talk about my health with others, it takes courage. It takes a lot of superpowers to do that. And not a lot of us do, because a lot of us, we hide it because we don't want people to think that it's a bad thing. But you know what? It's not bad to be sick. It's not bad to have disorder. It's not bad to say, I'm not feeling okay today. And it's not bad to be sad either, because I wake up sad sometimes, and sometimes I don't even know I wake up sad. I really don't.
That's so true.
So I'm not sure if you want to call it, I have a disorder. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I will wake up, I feel down. And it's our normal who we are. We are humans. And sometimes we will have different type of emotions that other people cannot understand. Just because you cannot understand it, don't put a label on it.
Exactly.
It's just my natural life, and let me live it. So thank you for standing up especially for women, because a lot of us, we hide certain things we have. And when other women come out to say, hey, it's okay to say I'm sad. It's okay for you to be angry, to be pissed at the world. It's okay to be that. So thank you. Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.